Hello, my name is Mark. I'm a concept artist and illustrator working in the entertainment industry, and here I'm gonna show you how to paint a more stylized character sketch. So I'm starting. Usually, I'm starting with a really rough line drawing. I'm not really concerned about any details now because I rather go into more detailing when I blogged in the colors as well. I pretty much had something in mind about the character, so I want to depict some kind of a Victorian steampunk era vampire hunter, and I imagined something like a traveling sailor, so with a huge trench coat and a big beard, and because I thought that could be an interesting character choice, and I never seen anything like that before. So I just quickly plugged in with the lines, and that's pretty much what I needed at this stage. And I decided to leave the background uh, really washed out, really burnt out by the light behind the character. And this way, I can focus only on the character and mainly on the character face, what I'm mostly interested in. So I just put some cold colors to make a bit more value variation in the background as well. But as you can see, I didn't do anything. And the next step is I started to block in the base colors for my character. Uh, I divided it to three main colors: his hair and facial hair, his trench coat, and basically his skin tone. It's just I like to I like to in case of character design, I really like to work with limited colors because it makes the actual design much more easier, and it's much more easier to create a readable design, a readable, more graphical design this way. So till this point, I've put the line work on a multiply layer, and I painted below it, and now I moved on top of this whole thing. So I just added an overlay layer to add some shadows and lights, and now I create a normal layer, and I'm picking the colors from the image itself, and I'm painting over the whole thing. So basically, where I have the lines with the multiply layer, uh, those are becoming my darker values, and where I had and with the darker tones on the overlay layer, and where I have the lighter values from the overlay layer and the base color, those gonna be my lighter values. So yeah, I'm just trying to establish the whole thing, um, trying to handle it really painterly to make this to bring a bit more dynamism into the piece, and especially good if you are using really big brushes and really big brush strokes first, because it helps to keep your edges much more interesting, and then later you can still refine them, and still can do a bit more play with the lasso tool, and bring more harder edges in. But I always find it difficult to soften the edges in Photoshop uh, at the final stage. So I rather start with softer edges and then go towards the harder ones. So yeah, and I jumped straight into the face, and I started to overpaint the whole thing, blocking in the main casted shadows and lights on the character's face. You're gonna see that that's going to be the part where I'm going to put most of the work, and I won't. I'm not going to care much about the rest of the image. So that's what I'm interested in, basically the that 50% of the image, what is in the center, what is the main focus. Usually, if you are working on a character, the face and the upper torso should be always in the focus, because um, that's what the viewer's gonna see first, or check out first. It's simply because we are humans, and in all our life we got used to reading others people's faces, others people's emotions to decide the actual situation. So that's why we always look for faces first in an image, and well, basically silhouettes first, and then the faces. But the faces are always really important. So yeah, this stage I pretty much blocked in the face, and I also blocked in the facial hair, the beard, and the hair. Uh, with painting hair, I always try to handle it with as it would be like a solid shape, because I just figured out it's much easier for me to handle the lights and shadows that way in the very first pass. And I always try to keep the edges of the beard and the edges of the hair of hair in general really soft, or like semi-soft. And I always only introduce harder edges where the edges are actually lining up with the direction of the hair what I'm painting. So, like for example, below the mustache, or below his first stripes of hair. Those are the only areas where I have harder edges now. And at the bottom of his skull, of course, but that's more like skull. So yeah, I finished the first set of painting. So I created another overlay layer to add a bit more shadows, what adds a bit more contrast for me. And I'm also adding some lights on a color dodge layer. I really like to use color dodge for introducing lights, but you have to be really careful, because otherwise it really easily gets oversaturated and it really kills the details of your piece. So now, I mean, it's sort of handy now because I have a totally white background, and it's really easy for me to make the edges of the typical glowy edges of the character. And now I'm pretty much going back to minor texturing, but without using any texture, just using some simple custom brushes. I wanted to add the beard like a general bass noise, a visual noise, and I created that. And the next step is with bigger brush strokes, I'm going on top of the facial hair and the actual hair to give it a direction. That's really important if you paint hair, because everything is about direction. It's really easy to get lost in painting all the strings of the hair and everything, but the trick is in really establishing the direction, and the direction of the beard, the direction of the hair, of the different hair stripes, and slowly going on into more details. And as you can see, I don't care much about the the things in the shadows, so I'm more focusing on the lights. I lay down some brush strokes in the shadows as well, but my main focus is the lights, because that's pretty much where we see the details in case of hair. I also went in and I'm using the smudge tool just to give that direction another level of painter look instead of the standard Photoshop brush look, and it helps. It also helps to give sort of an edge, a painterly edge variation. Just breaking it up a little. Now I went back to the simple paintbrush and adding some sort of hairs, and yeah, just started to paint in some final details to clarify everything a bit more. This is actually the boring part of the whole thing, but it's important to always follow the direction of the forms, even if you're painting a more stylized painting and drawing a more stylized thing. And now I'm just using the lasso tool and adding some sharper edges and some cast shadows into the beard. And to the other forms as well, just to separate the different shapes, the different forms from each other. Cast shadows is really important because that also helps helps reading the actual forms. And I'm going back on an overlay layer again with pure whites and just adding highlights, adding a bit more highlights to the beard. And yeah, tightening up the focal areas. If you paint a character, the eyes are always in the focus. So it really helps to if you give it another go, just to tighten it up a bit more. And because we have a background lighting that really gives me the chance to add some room lights. What is really helpful in case of hair, because because it really helps to sell the translucency of the hair. All the small light strokes what I added to the side of the beard, to the nose and face, are actually helping to sell that the face and the beard is turning and not just a flat surface. Zooming out, I went a bit too overboard with the face. So when I switched off the whole thing, when I switched off the previous layer, you have seen that I have only put details into the facial area. So now I flattened down everything. I do like doing this from time to time, just to really flatten everything down, and I commit myself to that stage, and I know there is no like going back after that. So I made some color adjustments, and then I'm zoomed out again, and I'm trying to bring back the whole all the other parts of the character to the not the same level where I have the face in terms of details, but at least creating some sort of balance and a cohesive image. So I felt that the shadows on the side of the face are way too strong, so I pushed them back a bit, and yeah, just slowly balancing out the whole piece, adding some more details onto his clothing, more shadows. But I'm pretty much getting close to the final. Breaking up the silhouette a bit more to make it slightly more interesting. And just some extra element, just extra brush strokes, just to suggest that there's something actually in the background, even if we don't know what it is. Extra texture work on a multiplayer layer. Yeah, he's coming from a fight. Putting some extra textures, like pores, suggesting the pores on the face. Yeah, and I think the character is pretty much done, so all what I'm doing now is just adding some sort of I was thinking it could be cool to add some sort of graphic design element to strengthen the whole stylized look, and just something. So I imagine him like he could be on a cover of a comic book or something like that. It can be really subtle, just a bit of an extra. Softening out up the what is out from my focal point. Some contrast and level adjustment. Yeah, and I'm pretty happy with it. So I'm just adding some extra glow and adding some radial blur on the whole image. What blurs out everything from the focal point, but I'm pulling it back to make it really subtle, and even erasing back my face. But yeah, that was the final touch, and that's it. It's ready. Well, I hope you learned something, and thanks for watching.